So, let's see. TF, Yumi, Kale, Pantheon, Renekton, Kiana. So Elise is up. They don't first pick. They prioritize Akali overall. Gragas answer with Xayah. So they already have a composition that can kind of like peel back. And Akali wants to go in. So Xayah's a very good, good optimal pick into that. And Gragas, I mean, he can get destroyed by Akali, but at the same time, he can disrupt whoever engages with his casket. So he's a good pick here. You technically could at least, if you're Fnatic here, and then go for something a little bit harder in top lane, or bigger carry in top lane. But at this point, since you're taking Xayah, there's a pretty high chance that the enemy is going to take Kai'Sa to answer Xayah, because not many people play other AD picks besides Kai'Sa into Xayah. They'll play other picks into Kai'Sa, but not other picks into Xayah. They know Rakan's open too, so there's a good chance that they could just pick Rakan at 3-pick. But it seems like SKT feels like they have enough counters to Rakan that they don't care. So they take Lee Sin. They prioritize Lee Sin overall. Elise, Lee Sin, Gragas. Those are his 3 main picks right now. I haven't really seen Clid Tilia. We really haven't seen his Jarvan either. Yeah. Since LCK, he's only played Elise, Lee Sin, Gragas. 3 champions. Literally 3 fucking champions. That's not good. 3 fucking champions. They look substantially worse when they played. They looked way worse when he was not on these champions. Actually, did he look way worse? He actually looked fine in his Skarner game. It's his Skarner, just you can't fight the enemy the same way. I guess we'll think about it. So Kali first pick in the Kai'Sa Lee Sin. They don't try to take Nautilus or their dual lane. They don't. I mean, the fact that they're early. So let's just do this. Like a Kali first pick. Overall, even Xayah, who starting to show to be a highest priority of all picks. Ultimate counters a ton of meta heroes, champs. Lee Sin in 3-pick kind of shows Clid has a shallow champ pool and may not be able to impact the game without having early jungle pick. So they ban Nautilus. They take Gangplank. So if they take Gangplank, then clearly they're like a comp that wants to pull you in. So you don't want to go more engaged if you're SKT, and if, like already like Lee Sin kind of like fucking hates his life. So is there a support pick you can like change this up with? So you obviously ban Rakan. You ban Cassio. It's a Fnatic special. Also Cassio again further improves the general composition that Fnatic are going for because she synergizes with them. They go Leo. Okay, so they add some engage and tankiness. Okay. SKT, what do? Because again, you don't really want to dive. You want to try to. I mean, if you dive, you need AoE, and so that's why we see the Vlad pick. Like the Vlad pick is supposed to just throw his fucking ulti down, and it's not something you can really dodge as a team. and if you funnel, Vlad definitely hurts you a lot in that situation. But Vlad does not actually have priority early on versus GP. Like, he just doesn't. The one range pick who there's a couple range picks that do better versus this, and one of them for sure is Lucian, which they have shown to play, but that was later on. Lucian, and would give them more of a 1-3-1 composition, which probably makes more sense. And Faker would probably absorb pressure in mid, while Lucian does a lot of the like fucking handiwork in top lane. They probably prefer that, but they take something with higher scaling, because they would get brutally outscaled, I think, with Lucian top. That's the only issue. Like, at the point we look at these two compositions, like, Lucian would have not much effect in a team fight, and he would get pretty fucking hard outscaled. But at that point, you're trying to play for early, right? And then you would depend on Akali split push and Lucian split push to be enough to win you the game. Kennen scales a bit better, and he can harass lane a bit better, but I guess they just want to do the Vlad. So, grab Ali for pseudo. Dude, how am I forgetting that spell pseudo? Pseudo tank slash pseudo tank slash primary engage that we cannot start. Vlad adds AoE to deal with Fnatic's ability to pull back to funnels and can beat GP 1v1 for 1v1 options. So it's not too bad, right? It's not too bad. They finish with Veigar, if I recall correctly. Yeah, we finished with Veigar. So, with Veigar in, man, this is like the same thing. This reminds me of like the last game. It really feels hard for them to force where they want to, because Akali wants to wait till level 6 usually. I mean, she can like kind of pressure like Veigar a little bit with mid wave. Vlad won't have priority. Bot lane can have priority, so like at this point it looks like looking with Gragas on blue buff, possible. Perhaps finding an optional early gank bot, like level 2 from red start. Otherwise, most of these lanes are not ideal for gank setup purposes. Top will get shoved and chipped from Parlay Grass Procs. Would need to do... Oh, could do level 2 look top, which is very uncommon. If none of these options, mostly farm. It's mostly do what he did in game last game versus RNG. Bum 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 bum. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Like, again, you wait for Akali for 6, but then there's Cage. That's annoying. You can look for gank bot with Alistar, but it's against a Xayah Leo, so it's not even like ideal that you're gonna get something out of it. Vlad versus GP. You know, Vlad doesn't really offer any CC for the most part unless GP overextends. They push in. I don't know why they pushed in for a war like that in a way, because yeah, you just risk getting Vagar free sacks. He would only do that if he wanted to pressure the blue, which it looks like he's gonna do, right? Like he's gonna do 4 camp into bot side. So that's what the ward is for. The ward is to understand if Gragas is going to commit towards full red clear. So this should transition into some kind of blue invade. Okay. What did I say? Let's see with Gragas on blue buff if possible. So they checked and they know blue's up. They already secured bot priority. They have mid priority. Easy blue. Okay, great. Great. They got blue buff. They force really hard on the bot play, but it actually works out because Hill is saying like Hillis. This is so fucking dumb, by the way. Look where your wave is, right? Like, look where his wave is when he walks. He is so much farther ahead of it, and he knows Lee just took his blue, and yet he's standing in front of him. He's actually so dumb sometimes. Like, we can say how fucking good Hilly can be as a support because he has really good intuition. But Hilly also just, oh my god, he just ins so hard in lane sometimes that it's just unbearable. Like I wouldn't pick him up just because he does this shit. Honestly, in some ways, like it's just I'd rather have Vulcan who at least doesn't do this as much. Okay, so let's see how SKT plays the map after this. So after the gank, Lee goes does Krugs. Lee still hasn't based. Lee's doing Raptors. Nemesis burns TP because of Faker's solo roam. He starts Dragon solo. He assumes Gragas is on top side as well because Gragas is pathing. Hilly looks to stop it. They use GP ult to actually fully stop it. Hilly ends up inting for his scouting purposes. They stop Dragon, but they get another kill on Kaisa, of all pigs. Not exactly ideal for for Fnatic. Very ideal for SKT though. Okay, so now Lee's on top side. Top wave is pushing out. There's no danger. You know Gragas is on bot side. Again, because of his pathing, his red buff has come up. Lee shows himself. I don't think he knows he showed himself. Goes for the dive. Gets countered pretty fast. 1 for 1. But GP loses the wave. So it's a net worth. It's worth it for them, right? So they're fine committing to this play. More camp to bot look. Blue buff steal off. Free kill bot due to Hilly int. try to do early dragon without Lee base. Could have just taken his base to be top camps earlier, and then approach dragons. Vhagar, Gragas are super slow at doing dragon. So that was kind of unnecessary. Convert straight into top dive after the first base to kill Bippo for 1/1, which leads towards CS denial. Top. So they assisted Khan again, but not right away. Okay, they spot Leo, they spot Broxa. Now they start Dragon again. This is because Broxa showed on top, and Akali is back mid with mid priority and bot priority. Yeah, they have mid and bot priority again. Okay. Also, I should need to include like 550 or something like that. Faker solo roams top to force Nemesis TP. Like, again, you know, you have a laner who's doing shit for on his own for the team. Huge thing. And Lee Euclid has not had the help of Faker whatsoever with his lane, unlike the Azir matchup. I remember this now. Yeah, I remember this now. I remember this. Okay, so Kai'Sa is coming back from base. Okay, let's start from here. Okay, so you took Dragon. Kai'Sa's coming from base. Cannon Barrage is on. You see their full duo lanes on bot, so they're taking care of the wave right now. You see Cage gets popped, and then you're instantly thinking, okay, we need to go while Cage is gone. If you wanted to go, they should have gone now. He should have been flashing over and going on that. Unfortunately, Nemesis has flashed himself, but the distance he's covering probably is enough. Vhagar would have to flash up or to the left right away to kind of avoid the Alistar. I don't think he actually has enough time to walk a little bit further to flash over a wall, especially because he has no boots. But they take a little bit too much time, and they can't get onto Nemesis, and the Cage comes down, and the stopwatch comes down, and they get full baited diving in between two turrets, which is extremely risky. And their early game's already going really well. I think that's the worst thing. Like, their early game's actually going over really well. Like, look at the fucking CS advantage in mid. Now, granted, it's a Vhagar. Vhagar does get AP when he hits a champion with an ability, or sorry, if he hits a champion with his Q, or if he gets last hits with his Q, or he's a part of a takedown. But, you know, like, excluding that, it's still a bunch of goldies down, right? He's still gonna be down items, which Akali's happy to, because Akali will beat him out in the side lane. And your Kai'Sa's already up 2-0, so, I mean, you already have a massive bot lead. You're going to be able to dragon stack. You're most likely to be able to swap your duo in the top side and net more plates, unless you're afraid of Cannon Barrage stalling out your wave approach. But a Cannon Barrage can't stop Herald. That's the big thing. And even then, you probably could actually contest Herald without swapping your duo, so you don't even have to swap your duo in that situation. But they commit to this, and it's just kind of like 10-40, like. Okay, we'll see this. Like, SKT eventually take Dragon again after. that's fine, but like the 10-30 mid dive was unnecessary with Akali way ahead, plus Kaisa up 2 kills, can easily look towards Herald without swapping duo and reap the benefits of Herald Gold, or reap the benefits of plates, plus don't have to deal with cannon barrage in swap situations. So that's them trying to bite off more than they can chew. Oh. And then they see the Herald. Okay, so now they want to stop the Herald. Xayah has TP, which comes a bit later. Yeah, I remember this too. These are actually the 2 plays that cost them the game completely. So, again, yeah, okay, you want to reset the Herald at least, right? You want to reset the Herald. Your Kai'Sa's moving. You're giving up bot plays. Okay, so already you're full committed to this play. You see no cage. Khan doesn't have flash. He can't get in there, right? They insta-turn on Khan. They know he has no pool. And SKT are trying to, like, in the meantime, like, kind of fit this Herald in. No. Like, you can't fit the Herald in this time. And, yeah, like, they just overcommit for a Herald play that literally does not matter. We could go to right here. Like, they know what's gonna happen right probably around now. And since Teddy died, like, you know, you already know you're giving bot plates, right? Like, you already know that. Like, they're on it. Is there anything else you could do differently? Like, is there anything else you could do differently? You could push out top wave. I guess they would try to force the dive, though. Maybe they. I don't know. I think maybe they do have to just look for the. Yeah, you look for the reset. That's all you do. You look for the reset. Vlad ulti. No Akali ult. No cannon barrage though. No casket. No cat. You're down more ultimates. You would have to fully depend on Vlad. I think you just reset it. You play the reset. I think that's their mistake. They also technically could have sent someone bot in this case, right? Yeah, they could have sent Faker bot if they wanted to. After this mid wave, he could have just gone straight bot and pushed that out. And then Kaisa sits mid, or Kaisa goes top. But in those situations, they would get Herald, and then they would use Herald to push down a tower, and then you wouldn't really get as much. So, yeah, 11:30 or 11:15, SKT just have to play for Herald reset versus committing towards an actual fight plus trying to burst Herald down for themselves. Ends up baiting themselves into a poor situation, which Fnatic reap greatly. I was at an E. I don't know why. Greatly from. And like here we go again. Like it's a very bad decision. It's a very, 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 very bad decision. And I don't get Herald, and I remember Khan actually TPs and is able to get Herald himself. But it's irrelevant. I think it's irrelevant. I actually can't remember. Yeah, this play was so dumb. You have free leads. Like, there's actually 0 risk in going for that, and then they don't play for reset with this because they're trying to play to burst it, and they actually get it, but it's just like Khan had to walk super far in just to stop them. Yeah, so they do actually benefit from it. Funny enough. They actually get 2 plays out of it. Then they dive. And Whippo actually ends up 2v1ing them because he has Triforce. And they don't have shit. And then Faker ints mid. It's a fucking disaster, right? It's a huge fucking disaster. Oh. We're thinking about this game in terms of, okay, what are the things that are going wrong for SKT? What are things that are going right? I mean, the right things were that, you know, Faker had the lead. They had a nice dive top. They got free kills on bot because Hylissang ints, and that's the thing Hylissang's known for, is actually inting in lane. Yeah, it seemed like a fine start. Their comp's a little wacky, but it seemed like a fine start. Like, in terms of compositions, you would favor Fnatic. But SKT had a better initial 10 minutes until that dive. And now at this point, it's just pretty much like it's just effort just not respecting, right? Like we have their 1-3-1 setup, right? Like we have Kai'Sa mid, we have SKT getting top river vision, which it doesn't necessarily. It doesn't necessarily matter, but it mattered in the situation where they're pressuring for top tower, right? So they want to ensure that no one can actually walk through that padding, like no one sneaks through like Broxar or someone like that. So, you know, you ensure you have that cleared out. You know, those 2 pinks are lined in, like you don't have to change them for quite a while until next dragon. And even with Baron, like you're not necessarily really going to be committing to Baron until Kai'Sa has reasonable items, and then maybe Lee and Kai'Sa can like 2-man Baron with like if you get the Mountain Drake, but we're not worried about that. And in this case, you know, Fnatic groups mid with their Gragas freeing up Veigar, and like why is Effort here? What the fuck is Effort doing? Why is Effort committing to this? I have no idea. I have no idea why he's standing so far front. Now this looks good at first, right? This looks actually like decent. Like you have Faker flanking, you have Vlad flanking maybe. Well, first off, Faker can't just jump in there because he's gonna get stunned by Leo or body slammed by Gragas. So he has to chill. So look, what's the first thing that happens? He gets stunned. He gets literally instantly gets fucked up by Fnatic. And he has to like quickly try to jump out of it, kills himself. Okay, 5-man ulti by Khan, by Vlad. Guess what? It doesn't fucking matter because he doesn't have fucking items. He doesn't have items. So in the end, you're just kind of looking at it and just like, well, yeah. Yup. Vlad, no items, can't do anything. Akali, good. She's like decently strong. Just she can't dive like that. And they give up 2 towers. And since you keep in mind, this is even worse because by giving up 2 towers, Veigar has Ghosties and he has Glacial Augment. They have Gangplank with Cannon Barrage. And they have Leo Solar Flare. And they have fucking Gragas Casket. They have 4 fucking ways to actually catch you in mid lane, just sitting on your ass in mid lane, and you have 3 champions who can escape it. Vlad, he's in side lane. Akali, side lane. Lee Sin, I mean, he doesn't really just sit mid at all. He hovers mid. He doesn't sit mid. So that leaves your Kai'Sa and your Alistar just completely fucked in this situation where if they approach mid and Fnatic tries to engage on them, there's a good chance they can just get caught very easily. And Gragas has Predators, so he can catch up to Ghosties, people who get slowed. So we see Effort's giving assistance to Khan's lane. Faker's lane is left on his own. He gets engaged on right away, and they kill him. this is different from other teams. So SKT commonly, so first off, SKT are really failing here because SKT are playing towards the opposite side while leaving Faker on his own. That's a common thing that we saw in the Splice series. But the difference is that they didn't set any vision in their top side, which means that no one knows what the fuck is happening. No one knows what the fuck is happening in Baron either when that eventually shows up. But of course, in this situation, let's just, we're gonna say in this exact situation, it's 1847, so Baron's not up yet. So they're not afraid of not having vision here. Which then, if that's the case, Faker shouldn't be anywhere near here. He sits here for some odd reason, and Fnatic knows. Fnatic knows they can push mid, and they can they're just going to naturally rotate the top tier 2 because that's where they place their vision, and that's where they want to play to. At this point, SKT are just simply getting bot tier 1 and giving up top tier 2. That they've already accepted that situation. So why is one of your players here? Why is there a player here? You just push out mid. You push out mid while they take this tower. You don't have the wave clear. You have a Kali. You have Kaisa. You don't have any capabilities of approaching the wave. You have like not a single champion on their team can approach the wave. But why is effort on the bottom side? The only reason I can think of why effort was even on the bottom side is to get quick wards. But then why was he hitting the tower? I mean, why was he doing any of that? I had no fucking idea. So that tower's gone. Quick engage on effort, who gives zero respect towards what Fnatic can do. Then someone else gets baited. And then Faker TP's behind. But who gives a shit? They don't care. Faker, they already know Faker can't just jump into them. So at this point, I mean at this point we're just looking at this. SKT go into 1-1-3-1 with dueling sitting in mid. Actually, mid SKT use Herald to get plates top and attempt to dive. Doesn't go their way since Whippo has Try plus Vlad isn't really that strong. City mid can't really get much done in any lane for the most part besides Fakers if they wanted to. Fnatic rotate into mid with 5 men, and effort gives 0 care, dies. This baits Faker. Actually, it doesn't even bait Faker. Faker just ints in and dies. Same with Khan. Give up both mid towers, exposing SKT's duo to many different engage options. Then we have like this is like fine. This is bad. Faker, you know, I'm just gonna say general, man, because like in general, Faker plus effort post mid dive get themselves caught far too often versus Fnatic's comp by either running into them or not respecting their engage range. Teddy is playing best out of everyone without putting himself in great danger, and Clid is trying to make things happen with Khan, but it isn't netting any value. Okay. Letting figure split really hard top. I mean, it makes sense. So they know they can't stop this. But losing 2 inhibs is a game-losing play. Yeah, he has the base for that. You can't lose 2 inhibs. You might as well just quit the game if you're gonna do that. Because once you lose 2 inhibs, you can't cover 2 lanes that successfully, and Fnatic's comp is literally a ball comp, so they can always catch you. So this is the first time Teddy actually really fucks up. And yeah, that's the second inhib. Yeah. Sounds about right. They engage on Whippo because it's just there, and they did that versus Splice as well. So you know, they're not just gonna sit back and let themselves get defeated. If they see the opportunity, they will take it. It's just at this point they kind of inted too much and they bled too much, so the game's just really fucking difficult because Akali can't pressure the side lane. Vladimir isn't strong enough to like destroy GP. And once Fnatic gets to set up in mid and just kind of just sit in mid over and over again, what do you do as SKT? Like if you try to split hard, you can't split fast enough, so Fnatic are just gonna do Baron. And you're gonna have to TP for Baron, and then you're stuck doing the Baron dance versus a team that is extremely good for Baron dance. Yep, that's it. That's it. Games bled too much, or players fed too much, leading towards the gold deficit and item deficit to be too much, or too overwhelming. Couldn't get side lanes to pressure enough to prevent Fnatic from sitting mid or being able to rotate from mid as a group around the map. Vision control was lacking. Barely set any ambushes to at least attempt at a comeback play. Rolled over and died. But I mean, that's basically it. I mean, they basically rolled over and died. I mean, if I'm not looking at this, like the problem is like this was one of SKT's few losses, and yet it only really showed how SKT entered their early lead and weren't able to play in mid-game because of dying too much. I mean, that's all it showed. In the game they lost against Splice, I think it was because they didn't actually have enough scaling options. So even with some of their minor leads, they couldn't correctly snowball, or even in like a slow game state, they just couldn't beat Splice because they just lacked that scaling option. They also didn't even have much going for them in early game in the first place because they didn't play a top laner who could pressure the map, pressure his matchup on his own constantly, and force jungler to come like the Quinn matchup, like the Fiora matchup, who just keeps getting stronger and stronger, and you're like actually kind of scared. Like Renekton, like he gets strong, but like you're not like as afraid of him splitting compared to Fiora. And then we had Faker on like Tristana, on Lissandra, you know, people who can roam, people who can lock the lane up, people who can dodge ganks, and like it makes you want to gank them to help your laner, but then when you do gank them, they just get out, so you're just kind of like pretty pissed. And then they had killer bot matchups. In this game, not a killer bot matchup. They definitely had a top counter, but it's not like an ideal counter, right? Like it's not like Vlad just destroys GP in the beginning, like it takes time. And same with Akali versus Veigar, you know, like she can win in CS, but she can't actually really kill him until she starts getting levels, and even then Veigar just throws the cage out and you can't even really kill him. So you have to play a different kind of game, and it was working for them a little bit. Faker only did like one roam, and Faker probably could have done more roams. Like they could have tried to join up Akali and Lee more, instead of getting the early Ocean and transition that into actual Vlad lead, but they don't. So maybe that's one thing I can make note of. Like, didn't really look to transition Faker's constant pushes into dives with Clid. This slows down their early game to only where Faker is growing CS lead, and Teddy has kills from Hilly's mistakes. Maybe that's a problem. Maybe that's another problem they had.